Mustang giveaway is still live. Everything on the website gets you entered. You're getting some dope-ass merch in the first place. And as a bonus, you're being entered to win this here Mustang, so you can do donuts for yourself. Drawing a winner live on Halloween night. We are up to 71 people who have entered for this thing. Time's running out. You only got 15 days left.
Don't spill my Red Bull. Goodbye.
What up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, man. Today we are going to be doing a much needed upgrade to the Blazer. So as you guys know, I'm trying to build this thing for like off-road and being out in the middle of nowhere. And one thing that you most certainly don't want to have a problem with is the thing overheating or struggling to keep cool. So of course I reached out to our friends over at AlloyWorks and got a radiator sent out. This is going to be a 4-core ginormous radiator that's going to directly bolt straight into the S10 Blazer, man. That is going to provide some much needed extra cooling for this thing. So as you guys know, I've put one of these inside of my Suburban whenever I was having overheating issues. We have basically the same radiator inside of my other Blazer that has the LS in it. Braven installed one of these AlloyWorks radiators inside of the Colorado when he first did the LS swap. We've had one of these radiators basically in every one of our vehicles and have zero issues with them. The amount of water that these things hold is just crazy in comparison to the little stock thing that comes in there. So of course the Blazer is an automatic and it does have the built-in transmission cooler and I believe an oil cooler, or it might be a power steering cooler, something like that. Anyhow, it has 2 coolers built into it, so we need to get the factory one out. And we're also going to be getting rid of this, the fan clutch. No more fan clutch, baby. I actually need some extra space inside of here, so ditching that fan clutch and this factory shroud is actually going to free up some space for our next installation that we're going to be doing on the Blazer. Some much needed real estate, man, let me tell you what. But anyhow, let's go ahead and get this thing out of here. Looks like we got a couple of 10s up here holding the shroud on. I'm going to get that out of the way first, and then figure out what we got to do from there. Probably take the fan clutch off next. Oh, looks like we got a couple of 10s down there too, hiding. They didn't want me to see them, but I found them. Ah, crap, I dropped one of them. Anyhow, if there's 2 10s on that side, there's probably 2 10s on this side too. Where's my magnet? It's like playing pool. What? What the hell? Bum bum bum. I don't know where the other 2 went. I've lost 2 down there somewhere. Be very careful with the air conditioning lines because the AC in the Blazer is worth its weight in gold. Oh yes, the very nice. Yeah, factory radiator is definitely on the small side, and wow, looks like a rabbit's been living in there. Look at all that in there. Look at all that in there. Oh my, oh man, look at all the stuff that's sticking through the condenser. Wow, I should probably pull the grill off and actually clean the condenser while we're here. Whoa, buddy, look down inside of there. There's a whole rabbit's nest. I wouldn't doubt that the rabbit's still in there. I'm gonna see if I can't contain some of this coolant whenever I'm draining it, so I don't make too much of a dang mess. Hell, I don't see a drain anywhere. I see no drain. There it is. Wow, that's hard to get to. Yeah, that drain cock is a little difficult to get to. It's down there. Honestly, I wouldn't even seen it if the shroud was still on here. I'm gonna go ahead and get the fan clutch off first. They'll give me a little bit more arm room in there. Big old hammer and a big old crescent. It should be righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, right? We're gonna find out. I think that was it. Was that really a 1 whacker? It was! Dude, I never get these things off with 1 whack. I'm normally over here swinging the hammer 1,000 times, damn near taking the alternator out, you know? I can't believe that freaking worked with 1 whack. Come on up out of there, buddy. We are done with you. Okay, I can reach the drain now, but I can't turn it because it feels like it's welded. Oh my goodness. Ugh. Kind of stuff always happens whenever my battery is about to die, which it is. It's over here flashing. Ready. Well, needle nose get it. Oh my goodness. There's the lower shroud, and that was a pain in the ass. It shouldn't have been, but it was. Hey, now I can get it. Oh yeah, that thing's not happy about turning. You know what? Lower radiator hose it is. That's how we're draining it. Well, I caught about a quarter of it. Now to go change my battery. So I got all the little locking clips out, and I looked it up. This thing has a transmission cooler, and then it also has an oil cooler built into it. So that's the reason why there's 4 lines. You'll have 2 on one side, the smaller ones, I believe. Yeah, those are the transmission. And then the larger ones over here on the driver's side, those are an actual engine oil cooler, which is pretty cool. But I got all those guys out of there, and I'll show you guys how to do that on the new Radiator, because it's a lot easier to do it up here. I will say, these things are a little bit of a pain in the ass, but once you get used to them, using something like this, it's really simple to get them out. It probably took me like 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. What I do is I use one of these little hooks, and I kind of drag it inside of this area until I feel it grab the hook. And then you can just kind of pull on it. It's probably actually easier with the hose in there, because whenever you pull on it and you'll pop it up out of place and you'll get it sticking out like that, and then bow, it popped off. If you're patient and just take your time, it shouldn't take you much longer than it did me. It took me like 15 minutes. Definitely a lot harder to put it on without a hose in there. But on the plus side, whenever you're putting it back together, you just leave those hooks in there. Those hooks are already in there, those little clips. All you have to do is just put the line up there, and then you just push in on the line and you hear it clip in, and that's it. But taking it out, yeah, it's a little bit more difficult, but like I said, it only took me like 20 minutes. Can I give you guys a really quick tip, man? Because I've noticed something whenever it comes to people leaving reviews, like product reviews. I've noticed this a lot with mag speeding rods. I have not noticed it with AlloyWorks. I'm not saying that I've seen this and it's a common problem, but I've noticed it from ordering stuff on Amazon even. A lot of times whenever you look at reviews and you see the bad reviews, a lot of times it's like people who make dumb mistakes and they're blaming the product, you know what I'm saying? So once again, I want to say I haven't seen this with AlloyWorks, and I'm not speaking on this from experience of other people buying their products. I'm just saying, me personally, whenever I receive anything like this, any kind of item that's gonna have fittings on it, I check them, because look, this is loose. Look, this fitting is loose. Look, this fitting is loose. So I'm gonna go through, if you notice, these actually have a I don't know if that's an O-ring or what, but there's rubber down there. I believe it's an O-ring that actually seals these things. But I am putting just a dab will do you, of this environmental protection type thread sealant, whatever, dude. It's thread sealant. I'm putting a dab of thread sealant on the threads, just enough to kind of coat the threads, and I'm gonna thread these all in there, make sure that they're tight, as well as the drain plug. I'm also going to go over all the bolts on the shroud and on the fans, and just make sure everything is tight. This is my truck. This is my Radiator. If something was to come loose on this, that's not AlloyWorks' fault. Whenever you receive things like this, you need to check stuff. That's the reason why companies like this are capable of offering us quality products at a cheaper price. If they had to hire a whole nother person to sit there and go through and make sure all these are tight and all that kind of stuff, they would have to jack their prices up. So all you have to do is, whenever you receive something like this, just make sure stuff is tight. I do that with my coilovers. I do that with any item that I get, no matter what the price is. You just check it. It's kind of, to me, it's common sense. But, and I'm only saying this because I can't stand seeing, most especially mag speeding rods. So many people just receive coilovers, throw them on their car. They don't check preload. They just adjust it as low as it'll go and throw it on their car, and they end up having problems because they didn't check the little center nut on the top to make sure it's tight, things like that. And then mag speeding rods gets a bad rap. Somebody didn't know how to do their part. You know what I'm saying? Anyhow, that's my word of advice. I'm gonna get these all tightened up, and we're gonna slam that thing in there. Alright, as easy as that, dude. The radiator is in, and we just made a lot more volume for our coolant, for sure. Dude, I'm gonna be straight up with you guys. This thing was a little difficult to get in there. It's completely in the stock factory location right now. Everything worked, but there was just a lot of things that was a little tight because, of course, given the fact that this thing is so much thicker because it's a much larger radiator, it's moving the coolant hose back a little bit. It moved the oil cooler lines back a little bit. Everything had to slightly scoot back a little bit. Realistically, it wasn't like super difficult, but it was a tiny bit of a pain in the ass. Anyhow, now moving forward, I can, since we're not going to have the clutch fan anymore, we're going to have electric fans. I could go ahead and just cut this and probably make it work, but I want to do something a little bit different. But honestly, I don't have time to do it right now. We're going to do it in the next clip. But I got to take off and go and do something, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to pick back up on this. I'm only telling you that because the next clip is probably going to be dark outside, you know? Ta-da! I'm back. I told you it was going to be dark by the time we got back home. Anyhow, dude, before I left, I actually took a measurement of the size that I was going to have to cut out to make a like a top panel to kind of hold the top of the radiator. And look, 5 3/4 by 26 inches. So when I got home, first thing I did is I went to the side of the house looking through my scrap to see what I could find, and I found a piece of diamond plate. In which, look, I'm gonna be straight up with you guys. I'm not a huge diamond plate guy. Like, I think diamond plate's cool for like floor panels, like where your feet are gonna be. But I don't know. I've seen people put diamond plate on things. It's just like, that probably shouldn't have diamond plate on it. It looks funky. I don't know. Some people just love diamond plate. I'm not one of those people. But, I mean, I don't mind it. It is what it is. Anyhow, I needed 5 3/4 by 26. Look at this. This piece is perfect. It's literally 27 by 6 1/4. The hell? No, it's closer to 6 over here. What the heck? Anyhow, I can make this piece work without even having to cut it, man. I just have to kind of clean up the cut. Because I don't know who cut this before me, but that's a little wavy. Name it what?
His name is Dandelion.
Dandelion? So when we disappeared and took off till the sun went down, this is what we went to go do. We had to go buy Dandelion, apparently. I said it should be named number 10. So I told Jessica we can only have 10. 10 is the maximum for that setup out there, the coupe and the run. And we're at 9, so, well, it's 10 plus 1, because yeah. Arthur doesn't count. So we have 11 now. Oh my gosh. Look at that little fluffy.
What's one more?
One more?
Just one more. We almost got
that's
2.
It. Oh, one more. That's its name.
That's one more.
Its name is either number 10 or one more. No, it's last one.
Dandelion.
Are you gonna really call it by that? Come here, Dandelion.
Dandelion.
Continue naming chickens. I'm gonna continue making my radiator bracket, fan shroud bracket, whatever you call it. Alright, this is what I've got so far. I have this front lip bent. That's what actually wraps around the radiator. And then the top of this isn't just flat, you know what I mean? So I had to put a little bit of an angle in it for this section right here to sit flush with where the old fan shroud actually bolted up. So this goes underneath the AC line, and my holes are lining up to where the fan shroud bolts onto our AlloyWorks radiator right there. So I'll be able to just reuse their hardware, and that will attach this to the radiator. And I had to put a big old hole in the top so I can actually access, you know, because it's through bolted. It doesn't have like a rib nut in it. So I got to be able to get a wrench inside of there and access both sides. So that's the reason why it's got a big old ugly hole in it. But anyhow, now I need to, basically, I just need to mark where those 3 holes are at, and then we'll have 2 bolts there and then we'll have 3 bolts up here on the core support actually holding it, and then this radiator is going to be solid, boy. So on the bottom down there, the AlloyWorks radiator actually sits in the exact same place that the factory one did. So as you see, the factory radiator has these little stubs sticking out. That's not a solid mount down there. It actually has one of those like rubber donuts that it sits in, so it will have some play with vibration, you know. I have a reason why I say that is because this spot right here clearly isn't going to have any kind of play. I think you do want your radiator to have some play so you don't crack things, I think. But I don't know. This is how I have the radiator mounted in the top of the Blazer, and I haven't had an issue. So anyhow, now I got to figure out exactly where those holes are at. You know what I'm saying? So I got 3 holes. I'm going to cut the heads off of, well, 3 heads off of these Q-tips. I cut it in half because I thought that was going to work. But then I went to go test fit it, and there's something like directly underneath the hole. So that's too long. So I need to just cut the head off. So I got 3 Q-tip heads. And then I'm gonna take my paint marker and just make myself a little puddle of paint right here. Bang, bang, nice little puddle. And then of course, just soak the Q-tip head in that paint. If you're doing this, yeah, you're more than likely gonna get it on your fingers, all right? And then I'm just gonna set this in the hole gently, because it'll push through. All right, now we'll just press our piece of material down. I have to pull the radiator a little bit on this side. I should have done it. Yay! Look at that! A hole there, a hole there, a hole there, and I guess I gotta put a hole there. I'm just kidding. It's now the next morning. I sprayed this thing last night with that can of bed liner stuff, the same stuff that we used on the roof rack, and I think it looks a lot better than being that chrome. Anyhow, this thing came out pretty nice, man. I think it's gonna work. I've been dying to bolt it on, but I had to wait for the paint to dry. All right, it's bolted on, and that thing is solid, bro. I will say it is, between the bolts, it is lifting right here in the front. If I'd have known it was gonna do that, I would have put a little bend right in the edge, and then that would have stopped it from doing that. And next time if I ever have it off, put a little kink right on the end, and then it'll stop that. Of course, it's gonna scratch the paint whenever I bend it, but it is what it is, man. Either way, it's gonna work. Now we can go ahead and get this thing filled up. I ran by the old Wally Mart this morning, grabbed some coolant, grabbed some of the orange stuff because that's what was in here. So I figured I may as well keep what was in there. And normally I just use green or universal, and I have some leftover distilled water from last time we did the Blazer. I am sitting here trying to get this thing to warm up. So if this thing is anything like the Suburban, the Blazer, all of them, it has done best whenever you get it all the way up to temp. So at least to the 210 mark, halfway. And then you just shut it off and just let it sit here and cool. With that big funnel on there, as it's cooling down, there's a certain point where it just starts drinking water, bro. It takes so much in. I'll probably have to sit there and continue filling it because it's gonna take a bunch in. Get rid of all the air pockets basically. Anyhow, in other news, look, my 4-wheel drive, all my damn lights are on now. And if you look it up, it's like, oh, either the selector unit or whatever it's called, a wiring issue, the transfer case, or a vacuum leak. I'm like, oh, thanks a lot, Google. Dude, I literally did nothing. I did nothing to the 4-wheel drive. I took the radiator out and I put the radiator back in, or a different one back in. Like, I don't understand why my 4-wheel drive is wigging out. Anyhow, I'm gonna sit here and continue trying to get this thing to warm up. Alright, got it all filled up. Now I'm just going to go ahead and take it for a drive. Obviously the fans aren't hooked up, so just letting it sit here and idle in the driveway, it's going to get hot. I need to get the fans wired up, but we're not going to be doing that until the next video on this thing, because as soon as I get this radiator done, the Blazer's going back underneath the knife, and we got to do the lights and everything on the rack. in which I have a switch panel and everything for it. That switch panel is gonna be perfect for wiring up the electric fans. So that's the plan. Instead of sitting there trying to wire it up right now with its own individual relay and everything, I can just tie it into the switch panel, you know? But I wanna drive this thing around a little bit, make sure that there's no leaks and whatnot. I think, oh yeah, buddy. I love whenever things just work. Anyhow, I noticed the truck had a little bit of a stumble at like lower RPMs right now when I took it for a drive, but it was fine if you were flooring it. Like if you were wide open throttle, it was fine, which is, I mean, telltale signs of obviously a vacuum leak. And I know the four-wheel drive runs off of vacuum. So I started messing around with the vacuum lines and it looks like I got it to shut off. So the problem is I need to let the truck kind of idle so I can listen for the hissing, you know? But I didn't want to do that and risk it overheating because like I said, I don't have the fans hooked up, but I went ahead and I rigged the fans up really quick with some alligator clips and stuff running directly to the battery. So I don't have to worry about this thing getting hot. Sitting around, I found right there. So you see, if I can get it to focus. Focus down there, buddy. Thank you. So that is a hard line right there. It's a hard line on two sides. So one side's a hard line, the other side's a hard line. It's got a little piece of hose right in the middle of it, like connecting the two, right? That's where it's leaking from. So I need to replace that little piece of hose because it's capable of bending and it's bent enough to where now it's like split, you know? All right, vacuum leak is fixed. This thing is doing great temperature wise. It's staying a lot lower than what it did before. And I don't even have fans hooked up right now. I mean, I did temporarily, but you know. Oh, four-wheel drive is now engaging. I got all those lights to turn off. So now I have it in 4 low. I'm in neutral. Go to 4 high. I've noticed like with it in neutral and you give it just a slight little rev and then it kicks it in. But yeah, there's 4 high. We'll go back to 2-wheel drive and then back down to 4 low. Bow, there it is. You know, I would assume that the weak point, of course, of this system is going to be the fact that it operates off of vacuum. You know what I mean? So like even if everything's working fine and I'm out on a trail and I need to engage 4-wheel drive, but one of the vacuum lines gave out while we're, you know, 4-wheeling or something, yeah, we're gonna end up having another problem. So, but it is what it is, man. You know, nature of the beast. What can I say? I will say the one thing that I don't like about most newer vehicles is the self-locking hubs, dude. I would much rather have like an old school shifted into 4-wheel drive right here. You got to get out and manually lock the hubs because then you know it's in 4-wheel drive, you know. But either way, man, I feel pretty good about what we did today. We got a much more reliable radiator put in there. Not only is it larger capacity, but I know you guys all know having an aluminum core and the aluminum intakes that's all welded together and stuff is just a lot stronger than the plastic. Because even if we do end up running into an issue where, let's say we blew a head gasket or something, the plastic radiator would just blow up. Well, they crack anyhow. Where this one is going to hold together a lot better. I mean, not that aluminum can't crack, it can, but it's less likely than that plastic. But yeah, like I said, we're gonna be wiring the fans up permanently in the next video whenever we're doing the lights and I got a switch panel and everything to put in. So that's pretty much it for this one, man. We got the 4-wheel drive. We figured out the 4-wheel drive problem because I had already gotten it working again, but then it stopped working through this fiasco. But yeah, found that vacuum leak. I need to just go over and put all new vacuum lines on everything. And anywhere where the vacuum line just kind of slides on, like put a zip tie or something to hold it on there really well. Maybe even some wire loom around all the vacuum lines to make them a little bit more heat resistant. But it is what it is, man. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Peace out, and we'll see you on the next one. Oh, and don't forget, AlloyWorks is giving you guys a discount. If you guys want anything off their website, man, they're giving the DB fam a discount. The link and the discount code is in the description down below, along with all the other companies that give the DB fam a discount. Later.